Okay, I got 6 o'clock. Let's bring our February 9th City Council meeting to order, and we will begin with roll call, please.
Sarchet.
Here.
Savage. Dvorak.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Otis.
Here. Item number 3, approval of agenda. I'll ask for a motion, a second, please.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Otis.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Item number 4 is a public hearing. It's time to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on the FY26 Budget Amendment number 1. Susan, when was the notice published?
January 23rd, 2026.
Have we had any written comments received for or against the FY26 Budget Amendment number 1?
No, sir.
All right, at this time, I would request staff to provide a report, and I understand that's Andrew.
It is. This public hearing is for Budget Amendment number 1 for fiscal year 2026. The proposed amendment increases revenues by $5.19 million, expenditures by $3.46 million, and transfers between funds of $402,000. Key items included in the amendment are as follows: a fire engine equipment funded through a grant, replacement of a water tower roof reimbursed by CIWW, water tower construction expenditures and related loan proceeds shifted from FY25 to 26, regional park construction costs and associated loan proceeds, a purchase of a new ambulance and generator carried forward from FY25, a development agreement for construction of Creekview Estates water main loop, sump pump collector project expenses carried forward from FY25, including additional costs due to unfavorable bids, conversion of a part-time firefighter position to a full-time lieutenant position. This is funded through available savings in the group insurance account, resulting in a net zero budget impact. The alternatives do not approve this amendment. The financial considerations are revenue increases by $5.19 million, total expenditures increased by $3.46 million, and transfers between funds increases $402,000. Many increases reflect timing shifts from prior fiscal years and are offset by related funding sources. It is staff's recommendation that you approve this budget amendment.
Thank you, Andrew. Council, questions for Andrew?
Yeah, so do we, and I'm going to be a little bit hypocritical because I've usually not batted an eye on doing these amendments, although I know that is work for you and I don't take that lightly, but do we track, this one seems a little bit more significant than most, and I know there's good reasons for that, as you alluded to with the timing piece, and we did make some significant different decisions than were in the budget. So do you track the amount by which we amend the budget, or is that something that needs to be reported on any differently than when we just do the amendment? Does that make sense?
Don't fully understand that.
Doing an amendment is, for $1 is much different than for $5.1 million of new revenue. Do we track the amount of our amendments year over year?
It goes into the Department of Management for a budget amendment and then it's reflected on there. Okay. We can certainly look back at amendments.
As can I.
But I don't have the dollar figure.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else of Andrew from council? Okay, Andrew, thank you. Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard for or against the FY26 budget amendment number 1? Seeing none, I need a motion then to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. Motion second?
So moved. Second.
And roll call.
Hill.
Yes.
Otis.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
All right then, moving on to item 4A1, I need a motion to approve the resolution approving FY26 budget amendment number 1. Motion and a second, please.
So moved. Second.
And roll call.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Otis.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Item number 5, public comments. This is the time and place for comments for any item other than those that are a public hearing. Susan, have we had anybody fill out a card
No, sir.
for tonight's presentation? Anybody wishing to speak? Hearing none then, we will move on to item number 5, which is consent items. I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve the consent items.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Otis? Sarchet?
Yes.
Dvorak?
Yes.
Hill?
Moving on to item number 7, business items A, third reading of ordinance 2026-100, adding chapter 124 massage therapy business licensing. There's no presentation on that, so we're just looking for a motion and a second to approve that.
Chief, one quick question on this one. Have you seen the, what's in front of the state right now for this topic?
It's in
The Senate currently? I was just curious if what they have, I know it's not law and it's being debated, but what they have, is that gonna clash with what we have right now?
It won't clash, but it would allow for the state to have some control in that sense, and then our ordinance would allow us local control to prevent, I think, more than anything else from them even coming to town versus, I think the state's more of like follow-up measures. I believe it said like twice a year they could, but
Okay,
again, will they? We don't know that.
okay. Yeah, I was just curious on, like, would we be getting into overkill? Because, I was just reading their first kind of go at the bill, and having a state board that comes in and does similar things for background checks and
Yep.
potentially observations. And if the state board's doing this and we have city doing this, is it worth kind of waiting to see where they go with it? Or just like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, personally, I say we still move forward with ours. If we have to make any changes to it down the road because of what the state's putting in place, we could always do that. But like I said, there's only a few departments in the metro that don't have something in place already. So, and it is a problem here.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
So, motion and a second on the third reading of ordinance 2026-100, adding chapter 124 massage therapy business licensing.
So moved. Second.
And roll call.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Dvorak?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Otis?
No.
Item B, reconsideration of the sump pump collector financial assistance program. Chelsea is going to have the presentation on that.
Thank you, Mayor. I am putting this back in front of the city council tonight. If you all recall, at the January 26th meeting, you approved the sump pump collector funding assistance program. And after this was approved, the sidewalk repair financial assistance program was approved. And the council made some different rules for the sidewalk repair financial assistance program. What I'm asking for tonight is that the council reconsider matching the two programs based off of the feedback I received at the last council meeting. Participants for the sidewalk program would receive financial assistance up to $500 and then 50% thereafter with no cap. I would like for the council to consider matching that requirement with the sump pump financial assistance program. And in front of you tonight for consideration are the proposed changes, like I've just explained to you, for the sump pump collector project. I will give a report on the sidewalk repair project next.
Council, questions for Chelsea?
So what did we land on the sidewalk? The amounts, it was,
For sidewalk, it's up to $500 and then 50% thereafter with no cap.
I thought that was the sum. Okay, so then what's the sum?
The
Sorry.
sump pump collector is 50%
Period.
with no cap.
Okay. I guess my perspective is, and I'm open to potentially not thinking about this correctly, the sump pump is a homeowner benefit almost exclusively, or at least to a larger degree than the sidewalk is. Sidewalk has a little bit more community benefit, so paying more upfront. And I think we're gonna talk about ensuring that we've got the right people doing it and all that, but I do get the point that it's easier for staff if it's the same as they come in, but since I would have, personally, I would have liked to seen where we were at with, sticking with, sump pump. I'm gonna get this wrong because I've already done it wrong 3 times, but where we started, we stuck with where we started on the sump and we changed where we went with the sidewalk, and I prefer the latter. I can say that any more confusing and all that. But, again, just for those marginal benefit targets, but.
All right, so do I have this right? So what you're saying is you'd like to remain at up to $500 and a 50% cap? As opposed
What
to?
I think I'm saying is,
50% no.
stay where we are,
Wants to leave it where it's at,
Right,
is what he's saying.
and
that's
that's what
what I should have said.
You want to keep it 50%, no cap.
no cap is where we are?
If you want to leave the policy as is, the council does not need to take any action tonight. I am asking for the council to consider this for the ease of administration for the staff, though. I think that it gets a little bit confusing. You add these 2 programs, it's in addition to the utility billing program as well as the water tower relief program. So the city is going to have 4 financial assistance programs, and they all have different rules. It's just a little bit difficult to administer. So that's why I'm asking you to consider matching the 2 programs tonight for ease of administration.
So we're looking at, with the sump collector, ideally, we get in buy-in from, I don't know, I want to say half of the 59 locations that could potentially hook up, and they want to get in and hook up. I think the initial idea behind dropping the overall cap was to try to drive as many homeowners as physically possible into getting into the program, getting on the program, getting these hooked up, and then they're hooked up for forever. This isn't like the sidewalk where we're gonna have this for years and years and years. Hopefully, we start getting these residents hooked up, and this program can literally go away until we decide to do another sump pump
Well,
collector.
I thought the lowering of the front end money was to encourage more participation because there's an economy of scale piece with the sidewalk that there's not with the sump, right?
I would agree that that's probably one of the benefits. I looked at it as driving as many people to get onto it as possible.
Also a benefit.
So I don't see this one as being a long-term program, again, unless and until we add additional collectors. And we're also dealing with many fewer locations and an even smaller fraction of those that are going to qualify for the assistance program. I said it to you earlier, Chelsea, I hate second guessing you because you're the professional here. I don't know how many, I only see a handful of people signing up for this one, and I don't know if the confusion is going to be there or insurmountable.
If you read the policy, you're only approving this program through the end of 2026. So this is a short-term project.
Even more to that point. But I think we should keep the language as is.
Anything else? Let's just put it to a vote and see where we go, okay? Item B1, resolution to amend P&A 2026-2 for sump pump collector funding assistance program. I would need a motion and a second.
Dave, can I hear your thoughts on this?
Well,
I've heard too, I just kind of, gonna have, if it ends up 2-2, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yes.
I need to hear everyone process
Well,
this.
I think it's, I want to give the LMI, those that can that can successfully fulfill these, I want them to have as much as possible. I want them to be able to take advantage of it. We've been trying to get rid of this LMI money, not trying to get rid of it, but, you know, we have to collect it and we have to use it. I have no problem with doing it as easy as it would be for the city staff to implement. So, if we're all stuck on 550% after, I think Chelsea talked to me successfully today about that would be enough to cover for most people, you know, at least a couple sections of sidewalk, or did you say one section? But it would be enough to cover that at this.
It could be to cover the cost of replacement of a panel if we are to get favorable
Economy of scale,
pricing.
yeah. So, I have no problem doing what Chelsea suggests because it is easier for them and we're here, you know, twice a month or 4 times a month saying what you should and shouldn't be able to do, with the people you have. So I hate going against your recommendation because it's really just splitting hairs, I believe, at this point, since we're 550% for both. I would be okay with that.
Okay. You want to make a motion?
Did you have something to add?
No, I just wanted to hear everyone's thoughts.
Okay. So
I motion that.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, let's do roll call.
Hill,
Yes.
Otis,
No.
Sarchet,
No.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Fails. 2 and 2.
Yes.
Okay. Item B1 fails due to a lack of a majority. Moving on to item 7C, reconsideration of the sidewalk repair financial assistance program. And we'll have Chelsea give a presentation on that too.
Okay, this change is just to reflect a small paragraph I added to the sidewalk repair financial assistance program. I rewatched the council meeting from January 26th, and I came to this consensus, but I felt like with this one, I needed to bring it back so you all saw the actual language I added to the policy. The city council authorizes the city manager to reject any applications or permits where complete information is not available. The city manager may also reject any application where significant repair work is not being completed by a licensed contractor. So I wanted to put some parameters in the policy that if we felt there was abuse or fraud, we could deny applications if there was not a licensed contractor involved.
So I think we focused on the dollar amount and kind of brushed past this, so I appreciate you going back through and verifying that. And for the record, if we do, to give you some cover in these situations, anybody has the right to bring to us if there is any debatable, you know, my cousin can do as good a contract work as anybody else, but, we don't know what it's actually called. That's the scenario we're maybe trying to
Sure.
avoid. And to, again, provide you a little cover, though it says that you have the authority to decline, people can still come to a meeting like this and let us hear their side of it too. So I'm for this.
Anything else? We'll move ahead then on item C1, resolution to amend PNA 2026-3 for sidewalk repair program funding assistance program. I need a motion and a second.
So move.
Second.
And roll call.
Otis,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Item D, resolution to approve construction contract for the East North Side Drive Intersection Improvements Program. Travis?
So for council's consideration tonight is the approval of the fully executed construction contract. This is a little bit different than what we typically do. Usually on locally let stuff, you guys would receive the bids, award the contract, approve the contract, and then it would be executed. Because of the uniqueness of the DOT's process, the contract's already been fully electronically executed, and so this is you guys approving and acknowledging and then filing that approved construction contract for public record. A few items that I think are important to call to the council's attention. So as a reminder, and you guys are aware of this, to bring everybody back up to speed, Chelsea is your person in responsible charge. She'll handle the day-to-day administration of the contract. She'll provide direct guidance to Snyder and Associates as your consultant and your quote-unquote boots on the ground as construction's happening. With the full execution of this construction contract, we've been authorized by the DOT to contact the contractor, and this week we'll be reaching out to them to try and get a pre-construction meeting set up. What I will tell you is I think they're very excited to do this project because I've already gotten 3 phone calls asking when I'm going to return this one specific material submittal because they want to run it this week. The pipe guy that they're using is running 48-inch pipe this week, and they really want to make it this week. So we're going to get that done, and we're going to get it out there, but I think they're excited about it.
It would be nice to have an expedited schedule on a roundabout after the state's fiasco on the other side of the bridge, so.
Fair.
Yeah, I think our residents are gonna be mad that we spring it on them real quick though, too.
Well, that's also true.
As part of that, the pre-construction meeting is going to look a little different than our normal stuff. Snyder and Associates, the city will be in attendance, the contractor will be in attendance, as well as all of their subcontractors. But then we will also be inviting the Iowa DOT, the school district, because they have a pretty strong stake in this project, as well as we're going to invite Polk County because one stage of our construction, specifically stage 4, will involve a pretty extensive detour route that takes people off of Northside Drive and routes them up and around to 126th Avenue. So we'll have all the major municipalities and governmental agencies involved and prioritize communication because that's going to be super important. This project is unique in that it's
Just
got.
convinced me that Nick's point was much more prescient than mine, by the way. They're not gonna care how fast it gets done, they're gonna care it starts tomorrow.
Those reroutes down 44th or up 44th, yeah.
During school.
Fair. This contract's unique in that we have intermediate completion dates. So the roundabout is to be completely open to traffic and fully functioning by August 10th, 2026, with the school traffic in mind. And then November 16th is the substantial completion date. And for the purposes of understanding, substantial completion is they've done all the contract work and they're down to punch list items. So substantial completion is to be done with this calendar year. We've discussed this prior, but this project does include Davis-Bacon wages. Those are federally mandated wages that have to be paid on federal jobs. Snyder and Associates would be doing reviews and interviews in accordance with DOT regulation and federal guidance to make sure that those wages are being paid as to not risk the city's funding. And then this project is being constructed in accordance with the Iowa DOT standard specifications instead of SUDAS. Anymore, those two specifications are crashing together and becoming very, very similar, but there's just a few administrative things that come from that. So we recommend approval of the executed construction contract. We have no objections to any of that, but we wanted council to be aware of what it is that you guys are approving and what has happened to date.
So I'm thinking I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask the question anyways. As you just alluded to, we've had some surprises due to the federal funding and the DOT requirements. Are we past that point now, or are there other things that?
It is strictly, from a construction standpoint, it is strictly city, Snyder, contractor now. Making sure all of that stuff comes together. The DOT then comes in on the back end with the federal aid audit and that kind of stuff. But that's more so finishing the job out, closing, getting the final reimbursements all settled, all that kind of stuff. But from now until construction is complete or effectively complete, it is kind of a 3-party deal with DOT oversight and assistance.
My question would be, school, August 10th, if that's pushed, like, if there's even and James, you'll probably be the expert on this, and apologies for bringing it up again, but what if it goes back to the 17th or the 24th or the 13th? I mean, what will that do to it'll be horrible for the kids, right? I mean,
Well,
for
it's gonna be like that this spring.
well, that's true.
The way it's written, there's not a lot of flexibility for the contractor.
But if it can't be open, it can't be open. Like, they could,
There's $1,000 per day damages associated with that, and that's That is determined by the DOT. So there is every reason for them to work Saturdays, work Sundays,
Well, that's
get this
better.
thing
There's
ready
meat in
and
it.
rocking and rolling. Because we're not counting working days. What we will do is the DOT does ask that we do weekly reports and act like we're charging working days, but it's more so to track. Like last year, we had an exceptionally wet season and a really inconveniently wet season because it was raining every 3 days. So there were actually extensions granted by the DOT because of the weather on calendar day projects last year, but that's the first time in over a decade that that's happened. So
So are you saying we're not doing that here?
we will be tracking the days, and then unless it is an exceptionally wet season, we do not anticipate providing flexibility beyond August 10th
But the DOT could,
as a mandate.
which that would be out of our hands.
Is there anything to kind of set the time of construction? And what I mean by that is like during major commute times, because generally they, like the one that was over here, you wouldn't really see anyone working at major commute times. And once we get to 8 o'clock in this town, it tends to slow down.
So I think I'd have to look at the DOT specs specifically, but there's not a lot of limiting factors. What we did tell them is you cannot be shifting traffic during commute hours. You can't have a brand new, or you can't be setting traffic control during those times. All of those changes have to be done either before or after commute times. And the way that we staged this is the only time any leg of that intersection should be closed to traffic is stage 4 when we're pouring the eastern half and we have to route that traffic through. North-south traffic will be perpetually maintained in a very similar manner to the way it is today.
Okay.
Would it be possible for us to at least have that conversation with the contractor about rush hour in Polk City in the morning? Okay.
Yes. Particularly in that area because I don't think they're gonna wanna be working right next to a school bus either.
Right.
And you're right, Dave, the fall is more of a concern than the
That's what I
spring.
figured.
Just because people get into new routines, everyone drives right at the beginning. The first 2 weeks is always a disaster. So if it is possible to stay away from it, you should.
Yeah, okay.
And that's why we set it the way we did, because I think school starts the 20-something of August and 26. So we gave them approximately 10 days that if they did go over, they'll be paying damages, but they're not hurting anybody or really causing a lot of harm or angst more so.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Thanks for that.
To James's point, I would ask I think the DOT did a really good job of posting in different sites, but I remember a couple of those, I read them 2 or 3 times and still didn't understand what it actually meant when you were going through there. So it mostly to staff, if we can make this as, I know it's, when you're talking about traffic and roads that people don't know the names to and different things, it gets difficult, but try to make this as intuitive as possible. Don't drive here from, you're not gonna be able to go from here to there from, that kind of stuff.
Yep. And what I will tell you is having boots on the ground with Snyder, we'll have somebody on site pretty much all the time. And so they will be the face of that project and they'll be making contact with property owners as needed or confirming that the contractor is doing those things.
That's our federal observer, or that's our DOT observer, okay. Thank you, sorry. Keep going, sorry. But that was, Snyder is getting that person.
So to Rob's point, have we begun to think about a communication strategy, Chelsea?
No, I think we've had conversations, but we really need a firm timeline, and we would get that after the pre-construction meeting.
And what we have talked about is there's gonna be a public information meeting, I think we're targeting April, right? And we would specifically target it at that project within a third public information meeting somewhere in the middle of summer that is more so targeted at the entire Polk City Junction Trail.
You gotta do those but the people that need to hear that information don't go to those meetings. So I'm talking more about the things that we do, online, and maybe even,
And the benefit of Polk City being the one that contracted with the contractor is, so at each stage, contractors are required to provide handbills to the neighborhood that's directly impacted. And what we can do is we can have Absolute provide that to us, so it gets filtered through whatever channels you would like, whether it's social media, email blasts, posted on the website, hung on the glass window up top, upstairs, that kind of stuff. That's the benefit that we have that the roundabout west of the bridge didn't have, where it was being run by the DOT.
Okay, item D, resolution to approve construction contract for the East North Side Drive intersection improvements project. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
second,
And roll call.
Sarchet,
yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Otis.
Yes.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you, Travis, but stay there. Moving on to 7E, 7E, resolution approving site plan for the Polk City Regional Park.
So for council's consideration tonight, as Mayor mentioned, is the site plan for the regional park, Phase 1, Northeast 7th Street, and the Polk City Junction Trail Phase 3. So within the site plan, as I kind of mentioned with the old City Hall demolition site plan, the way we handled this is basically Jason Ledden, the designer for the park, was working for Jason Tran. I'm working for Chelsea. So this went through an independent review where we went through our normal checklist, our normal review process. I provided comments. Jason addressed those comments, and then we took it to planning and zoning to discuss and review. The proposed project and site plan includes the construction of Northeast 7th Street as a 31-foot back-to-back collector street from East Vista Lake, or the stub just south of East Vista Lake, to the southern park boundary. It includes 6 soccer fields, 3 U19 fields, and 3 U12 fields, a baseball practice quad, construction of a modern restroom facility with a second unfinished space that could be converted to a concession stand as part of a future phase, and then the associated parking for those proposed improvements, including irrigation and several other items. The important part about this site plan is the proposed use is in accordance with the R1 zoning district. It conforms to the information that was included in the Big Creek Commons traffic impact study. The city will continue to work with that developer in terms of cost sharing for the proposed turn lane on East Northside Drive needed to facilitate both the residential development and the park project. As part of this project, the stormwater management plan originally prepared by civil engineering consultant CEC was modified to reflect the actual proposed improvements, and it will need to continue to be modified as future phases of the park are constructed. Since this project is in the R1 zoning district, open space plantings are not required. This also directly adjoins R1 districts, which do not provide or do not require a buffer between R1 districts. But the proposed site plan does provide parking space or parking area trees, as well as headlight screening in accordance with Polk City Municipal Code. As we discussed this with the Planning and Zoning Commission, they did not have any comments. Staff recommends approval of the site plan, subject to any comments you may have being addressed prior to us posting this for bid, and then this project being bid in accordance with Iowa State bidding law. Our intent, if approved tonight, would be to post those plans tomorrow, hold a bid. You actually set the hearing for the bid as part of the consent agenda for March 9th. We would open bids on March 4th, with the intent being then that you would approve the final contract at the March 23rd council meeting, and provide the contractor with a long runway of getting started basically as soon as they would like to. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anything for Travis? I need a motion and a second to approve resolution approving site plan for the Polk City Regional Park. Motion second,
So moved.
Second.
and roll call.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Otis.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Item number 8, thank you, Travis. Reports and particulars. Let's begin with staff. Anything from staff? Nothing from staff, okay? How about from city manager?
I don't have anything, thank you.
How about from the council? I don't hear anything, and I don't have anything to add either, so we'll move on to item number 9, which is adjournment until February 23, 2026. A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Quick question.